Hey guys, so I have to be a little bit quiet because Phoenix is still taking her nap before we go to our Halloween party. But I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a teeny tiny get ready with me kind of thing while I talk about some of my experiences working at a haunted house. I, I really hope that I'm talking loud enough because she is kind of awake. She's kind of just talking to herself, and so we usually just leave her in her crib while she's talking, just because, I mean, why not? She's still having fun. She's not crying. She's perfectly content just sitting there for a little bit. So I'm going to try to do this a little bit quickly. My lighting's kind of crappy, and I'm probably going to be talking a little bit fast, but I want to be able to get this done because I'm having a lot of fun. Getting ready for Halloween and everything, and I just wanted to kind of document it and share it on our channel. And I also really wanted to talk about working at a haunted house because it was really, really fun, and I'm really sad I'm not doing it this year. So I'm going to go ahead and just start putting on my makeup real quick. I don't have my headband. I can't find it. I have some of those cat ear headbands that pulls your hair back. Can't find it anywhere. No idea where it went. so I'm stuck with this. So to start out, I feel like it's important to mention that when you go to a haunted house, there are certain rules, I guess you could say, that you should follow. And a lot of people do not follow those rules. I guess I could tell you what I'm using. I'm using this little sample size of this Aveeno something, kind of positively radiant max glow, I guess. I don't have a moisturizer or anything. Like the only thing that really works right now. And so we've had a lot of issues at the haunt that I used to work at. We had a lot of problems with people just like screwing around. We live in a college town, so we always had like crazy people that were just screwing around in line and not listening. So when they read the rules of what you should and shouldn't do, it's just rude. But they just wouldn't listen. But one of the things that was a big thing that people didn't seem to really listen to was the whole "don't touch the actors" thing. And that's a big deal because that is a liability to us, and it is a liability for you, that if anyone were to get hurt for whatever reason, that it would not be good. And it's not just like a legal thing, like, oh, we don't want to have to pay for someone to get hurt. No, it's a safety thing. We don't want something to happen because we have a very specific rhythm for how we should and shouldn't move around, and we have specific ways that we do things. We know where all of the props and stuff in the room are, but sometimes when you have someone coming in and they just like push you or grab you or whatever, like that can be like really, really crappy, because I've had a couple of times where people would like try to grab me and shove me into chairs, and the chair had wheels on it. I'll get back to that story in a minute, but like, I've had a couple of really, really crappy experiences with people who didn't listen to the "don't touch the actors" rule, and it can be really scary. A couple of other rules that I feel like people should understand is we are not there for you to make fun of and play with and have a good time with. Trying to scare the actors, first of all, makes you look like a jerk. It really does. It doesn't make you look cool to your friends. If you want to scare people, come work at the haunt. Come work with us. Like, if you think that you're cool beans and you want to scare some of us actors, don't do that there. But if you want to scare people for fun, like, anybody can sign up for a haunted house. It's really, really fun. I highly recommend it. I used to be like terrified of anything Halloween, like terrified of anything Halloween. And then on a whim, when I was in college, I just figured, hey, you know what would be kind of fun? Working at a haunted house. Why? I don't know. Probably the biggest mistake of my life. That's what this is going to be. And so I emailed the people at the haunt, and they said, hey, why don't you just come on in? and we'll sign you up. I had to sign a few waivers. Another reason why you shouldn't like mess with people, because we have very specific like safety rules, and you messing with us is another way to ruin those safety rules. And so I signed a few waivers, and they asked me about my acting experience, and I did some acting in high school, and just did a bunch of stuff for fun, like nothing super duper serious. And they were like, cool, well, if they gave me a trial run. They said, we'll see how you can do, and if you seem like you're the type of person that can like thrive in this environment, then yeah, we'll have you come back. So if you wanna scare people, just come work with us. We could always use more people. Like, there's always a place for people in a haunted house. It's really, really fun. Oh, the foundation I was using was Born This Way by Too Faced, and I'm super duper pale, so I'm in snow. I don't know. I've never done this before. I didn't think that I would ever do a beauty tutorial, anything, whatever. I'm just using Bare Minerals powder, I guess. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time in the beauty community side of YouTube, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. A couple things that were kind of the exception to that, like, pushing and trying to scare actors rule is I have been punched a few times working in the haunt. I had one experience. I was in a hallway that kind of, like, you go down the hallway and then it juts to one side, and it just keeps doing that for like a tunnel effect. It's supposed to be like a mine kind of thing. And so I would hang out right where the corner was, and it was wooden slats, so I could see through it, and I could see when people were coming, but it was dark, so they couldn't see me, obviously. And so one of my favorite things to do was to jump out of that little area and just kind of freak people out. I just thought it was like a perfect advantage. I would sing a little song. I was dressed as like a little girl from head to toe, and I had like blood all over me and everything like that. But I had a couple of girls come around the corner, and they were obviously like super duper freaked out. They didn't see me coming. No one ever does. And when I popped out, one girl goes, ah! and punched me straight in the boob. And it did throw me off for a second, and we both just kind of paused, like, and then we went right back. I went right back into what I was doing, and she just kind of moving on, and she kept saying, I'm sorry, and it was totally fine. I mean, it happens. My eyes, I'm going to be using Immortal Glow from Blackheart. I got this at Hot Topic because I'm a cool kid. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of color with one of these reddish colors. I think it's called Prestige. And I don't currently have an eye primer, otherwise I would normally use eye primer, but I don't have any right now. But so those were fun. Those were some fun experiences with accidentally get hit. I had a few experiences like that, actually. It wasn't just like the one time. Like, it happened a few times that I would pop out and people would like start throwing punches at me, and I didn't mind because I get it. They're scared. It's something that you kind of sign on for sometimes. When you work in a haunted house, like, you gotta expect that, when people get scared, their fight or flight is triggered, and they're going to try to run away from you, and they are going to try to fight back. And you just gotta, that's one of the reasons why at my haunted house that I worked at here in town, we had zone leaders that would come through periodically with walkie-talkies, and if anybody was ever like messing around and doing something they weren't supposed to, then we could tell a zone leader. Also, we were always within like shouting distance of each other. Like, they separated each section of scares close enough together that and we always had code names so that we didn't break character too much. And so if there was, let's go ahead and talk about the time that I was pushed into a chair. So I was in the insane asylum section of our haunt, and I was our doctor was out, so he was not there. So I was in his office, and I was playing as a patient that kind of took over his office and was doing stuff that I probably shouldn't have. And I had a lot of fun in that room. I feel like I kind of did a little bit better in there than I did in my tunnel hallway, which was surprising to me because I had been doing my tunnel hallway for most of the season. And then suddenly they're like, hey, our doctor's gone. Do you want to come down here? I was like, yeah, okay, I'll be here for the weekend. And it turned out really fun, except I had an instance, whatever, where I was, so people would be coming down a bunch of hallways, and there would be a bunch of scares in the hallways, and then they'd come down a really short hallway and turn, and it would be my big office room. And I would be sitting there. There was a desk behind me. There was a bunch of cabinets with like papers everywhere, and I was dressed in a lab coat, not a lab coat, a straitjacket that was unfurled, and I was covered in blood. And I looked all freaky, and I had like scratches on my face, and these guys were obviously drunk, like super duper drunk, because they were just kind of being idiots, like banging on the walls and like screaming back at the actors and stuff like that as they came down the halls. And it was so bad. Like, we did not have fun with them. But the moment that kind of pushed us all to the point of having them escorted out by security is they came around my corner, and I got up in their faces and I said, hey, you want to play a game? And one of the guys like physically grabbed me and was like, whoa, hey, let's not do that, and shoved me into a wheelie chair. And I tried to get up instinctively, and he came over and he just continued to try to shove me down into the chair. It was terrifying. But so I screamed out Cutter, who was our local clown, and I screamed for him to come and help me, and he was right around the corner. He had been following these guys, but I called out for him, and he came in, and he scared the living daylights out of them coming up behind them. And the kid who was pushing me around tried to get into his face, and so it was definitely a moment where we needed de-escalation. And so we're not allowed to touch the people. It wasn't one of those kinds of haunts where, you know, we're all allowed to, you know, really, really mess with people. No, but he grabbed the guy and just kind of held him there because he was throwing punches and trying to like shove people and everything. So we called security, had all the boys escorted off the property. They tried coming back like twice that night. It was bad. It was so bad. It was really scary too. But that was the scariest experience I had working there. But because we were such like a close family, and because we worked so well together, and because we were so close, and there were security cameras in every room, and security was constantly like listening in on the loops and everything, I was super duper safe working there. And I really, really appreciate everybody who helped me out in that situation. My eyeliner is L'Oreal super slim liquid eyeliner. It looks like this. But so that was super fun. Let's see some other fun experiences I had. So I not only worked, I'm gonna be a bat, you guys, so I'm gonna try really hard to put wings on my eyes. We'll see how it goes. Let me just add a little extra lighting real quick. That's a little bit better. I also don't have my glasses on, so I can like barely see what I'm doing. But so I not only worked in the haunt as an actor, I also helped out with a lot of stuff in the makeup room. And at first it was just like oh, hey, you know, I'm kind of interested in this kind of stuff. Can you guys like show me around and show me what you're doing? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? You can hang out in here when we're not super busy, because we had a very, very small space for doing makeup, and it was really kind of crappy to have a lot of people in there. But after a couple of nights, you know, I had been around long enough that when somebody called to cancel, they were like, "Hey, you want to come in and like help out because we're short-staffed?" And I was like, sure, that's a little scary because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do scary makeup. I've only just barely been watching." They're like, "You'll be fine. You know these people. You've been watching them do makeups for like the last," I think I only been there like a weekend and a half. And they were like, "Hey, you can totally do this. You got this." So I went in and I did it and I loved it. Oh my gosh. I loved doing makeup. It was so much fun. And being given the responsibility of trying to put makeup on people, we had like 200 people. That might be an exaggeration, but we had about 200 people that we needed to do makeup for every night. And so we would try to have people show up a couple hours early, but of course not everybody could or not everybody did. And so we would try to get our main characters, because we had a few like pretty regular characters that would come in that they had every single year, and we would do their makeup as soon as they arrived because we had a lot of people that were out scaring people while they were in line. We had a lot of people who were like right at the very beginning and stuff like that. So we would try to get them out as soon as possible so that they could get into position, or if they had like really important like lines or anything that needed to be done or set up in their rooms. Like we tried really hard to get all of that done. And that took a while for some of them. Some of them wore masks, so all we had to do was darken up their eyes so that when it showed through the mask, it wasn't like, "Oh, you're very obviously wearing a mask." It just kind of made their eyes look a little bit more sunken in, which gave a really good effect. So if you're ever like wearing a mask for Halloween, you're like, "Oh, it just looks like I'm wearing a mask," just darken up your eyes. Like just a little bit of eyeshadow right around your occipital bone so you can get it in there. This does not look as good as I wanted it to, but it's for church, so let's see how I do with the other side. So this is my better seeing eye, so when I have to close it to do makeup, I cannot see as well. So I have to really, really focus when I do this eye. But I'm going to try to keep talking. So we didn't do like some haunted houses do like really super duper elaborate makeup. Like you spend like 30 minutes in the chair. Well, when we had that many people that were coming through getting their makeup done, we couldn't afford to spend 30 minutes on everyone. Like we didn't even spend 30 minutes on... That's good enough. We didn't even spend 30 minutes on our main characters because we just didn't have time. We did not have time to do that. And so you had to get in. We had a big map of where everybody was because we had 2 attractions. And so depending on what attraction and what room, that determined what kind of makeup everybody got. Right, I've got 3 lamps. I can hear Phoenix laughing in her room. She's just laughing to herself. But so that determined who got what kind of makeup, and yeah, that's close enough. I think I can kind of see what I'm doing. And so some people had to be airbrushed, and I did not do any airbrushing because I did not own an airbrusher. And they, honestly, I did not think that I would feel comfortable doing the airbrushing on someone else's machine. That is not even. But it looks totally fine. I don't think it looks that bad. I think it's a little bit thicker on this side than that side. But I kind of like it. I like this one. I don't know that I would be able to copy it. We'll see what I can do. No, I'm not going to touch it because I actually really like how it looks. But so people would come in and you would either sit in the chair to be airbrushed because we had a group of cannibals that needed to be airbrushed to make them look, because we had to do their body as well to make them look sunken in. Some of the guys didn't wear shirts, and so we would try to make them look more dehydrated. It was just faster and easier to get like veins and stuff like that done with the airbrush. So I never used the airbrush because that was not my tool, and these girls would bring them from home, and so I didn't want to mess with those. But whenever we had to use the airbrush, the generator had to turn on. The little tiny ones that are like this big but are as loud as like a truck. I hated it. We all hated it, but I mean, it was part of work. But my job, I mostly just did like a little bit of like basic makeup at first. Like I would do the black around people's eyes, or I would... This is a really hard angle to get into every single time because I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. I'm just trying to line my eye a little bit. This is liquid eyeliner, so I'm not putting it in my waterline because that would be a very bad idea. Okay. But after a while, because I'm rambling now, after a little while, I no longer did just the basic, like, oh, sinking in the eyes, and we would go right along the cheekbone and then blend that out to make your face look sunken in. Crossing out, there was a girl that had a couple of tattoos right here that said love something. I don't remember what the other thing was, but we would cross out the love, make it look like it had been slashed through, and write hate to make it look like it had been carved in. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I loved doing that. That was just really, really fun. But then I started getting a little more into the gorier stuff. Like, I really liked working with blood. So there's a few different types of blood that we worked with. We had regular, this is Bang by Benefit that I'm using for my, what are these called? Eyelashes. That's what these are. So we had regular stage blood, which is the stuff that you can usually get at like a party store. You can get them in like the little tiny tubes, or you can get them in like the jugs. We had to buy like gallons of it because we would put it in a spray bottle and we would spray people down with it. And that's usually just like the cornstarch and red dye and water and stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes it would stain because red is a color that stains really bad. But it was pretty much just a water-based product, so it was not as hard to get off. You could use baby wipes to get it off. And then we had my favorite, which was called blood gel. And if nobody knows what blood gel is, it's a special kind of more 3D, I mean, it's what it sounds like. It's a gel that looks like blood. And while it's wet, and I have some, and I'm going to try to do a video showing you guys how to use it. But the blood gel is a little bit thicker, and I feel like it adds a better effect when you're doing like wound makeup, like scratches or bullet wounds and stuff like that. And so I started getting really into doing that to the point that they asked me several times to come in. Like I had specific people that would say, hey, make sure you keep your chair open for me because I want you to do my makeup. And they were some of the main actors, and that was really intimidating to me, but I loved doing it. I had so much fun with it. And then all of us makeup girls would either help each other with our makeup, or we would just do our own, and I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. But a few more acting stories as I'm finishing up, because I got to put some stuff on my lips to wait, because they're super duper dry. A few more fun stories about what I did while acting. So I told you we had a couple of different attractions, and we had the main attraction, and it was, so our attraction this is gonna be fun to say, was held in an old meatpacking factory, like an abandoned meatpacking factory. And so we had like the grinder and the hooks and everything like still there. We just replaced everything with fake stuff so that it was safer. And so that added for some good effects. But I spent most of my time at the main attraction where we just kind of hung out, and every year had a different story. So the first year that I was there, it was, what was the first year? Oh, it was zombies. That's right. We had a zombie breakout. And as you go through, you had, we had a few different stations with the main actors with the actual like storylines and scripts and stuff. And so you would go to them and you would just listen to their spiel, and then you had to pick a vial. And there were a bunch of different vials with different colors in them. And when you finished, if you had the right combination, and the doctor's room was right before my hallway, my little tunnel. So I knew if people got it right or wrong, which was super fun. But if you had the right combination, then you cured the zombie virus and you got to escape. Woo! Super fun. And then the next year, everybody was dead because nobody was able to figure out how to cure everybody. So even like the usual characters, like everyone was like super duper like zombified and creepy. And then the year after that, hello? That was super creepy. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap this up really quick. But so the year after that, we had a circus theme, and that's where one of my favorite stories comes in. So circus, we had some zombies, but we had a cult family that took over, and they worshipped Cutter the Clown, who was our main bad guy character. Every single year he was our constant. And so they worshipped Cutter the Clown, so everything was like clown or circus themed, or it was like super decrepit, like creepy cult family. Think Resident Evil 7, if you've ever seen or played that, like the back alley kind of dirty cult people. And so I was in the clown room most nights, which was horrible because I hate clowns. People think that the new It movies are really scary. Tim Curry from the original It series scared the crap out of me because I was at a friend's house and I was super duper young, and we were like, oh, her parents were watching a scary movie. Let's go sneak in and see it. No, never do that. So we snuck in, and there was Tim Curry with his creepy fangs and his clown makeup, and ever since then, I just could not handle it. And so I was stuck in the clown room all by myself. It was just me, no one else. And I was surrounded by clown statues. Just statues. There wasn't anyone in them, but they were just the scariest statues you could ever, like, imagine. I hated it in there. But so I had my clown room, and then there was a hallway. And after the hallway was this big spinning wheel that kind of disoriented people before sending them into a maze that had the usual like red and white striped circus tent with a strobe light, and you had to try to find your way through the maze. Because you would come in and it would be just a square box, looks the same on all sides, and you had to figure out which side was the right way to get out. So I had a secret passageway from my clown room to the maze. Well, one thing that I thought was going to be really, really cool was these white mesh contact lenses that I bought. And I loved these things because they made me look super duper like exorcist kind of creepy. So I would wear these contact lenses. Well, one thing about the mesh is, unlike the other contacts, the mesh you could not see through as well. Your vision came out like super milky and blurry. And I was like, it's fine. I'm in a dark room. It's whatever. I got this. So I'm sitting in my dark room the first night, and I'm like, oh, sweet. These contact lenses aren't impeding me at all. Finish up with my first group, book it to the next section to get to the maze. Strobe lights. That's my old phone. I don't ever use my phone. So strobe lights really messed with my eyes. So I was practically blind, running through this maze and I couldn't find my way through because I didn't know where I was, and I never actually memorized the answer to the maze, so I didn't know where I was supposed to go. So every night I still wore those contacts and I still went through the maze even though I could not see anything. And there were a few times where I would blindly like push through one of the fake walls and I would come up on a family and be super disoriented, and they would be freaking out because they just saw me 3 seconds ago. How did I get ahead of them? And so I would have to be like, oh, what? Who? Rah! And it worked out. People loved it. People thought it was really funny and really scary. And it was awesome. I loved doing that. But I'm gonna have to leave it here because it sounds like Phoenix is getting ready to be done, and I have to get her dressed in her cat costume. She's gonna be a cat, and I have my bat wings. I'm gonna be a bat. And I guess I will see you guys in the next video, which I will probably be recording hopefully in the next couple of days. But every time I say that, it ends up being like a couple of weeks. But I don't have a couple of weeks before Halloween. But I'm going to try to do some sort of little tutorials of some of the simpler things that we used to do for scary makeup, because I feel like there are a lot of beauty people in the community that do the big elaborate, like it takes you a really long time to do it. And there aren't a lot of like, hey, here's a quick haunt tutorial so that you know what to do when you have a zombie and you have like 10 minutes per person. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I am going to do black lipstick, but this black lipstick, this is Lip Sense. This stuff lasts like legit all night long. But I can't talk with it on, and it would be kind of awkward to just sit there and have me going trying to dry it. So I'm not going to put this on in front of you guys, but I will post pictures to my social media. You can follow me, FoxyLady33, and I will definitely be posting lots of pictures of all the stuff that I do over the next few days, because I am so excited to take Phoenix trick-or-treating for the first time, and she's gonna be dressed up all cute, and we're probably gonna carve a pumpkin or something. I'm very excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your spooky month, the last 7 days of it. And as always, please leave a like, a comment, or consider subscribing to our channel because we have a lot of really fun videos that come up. I have more Little Misfortune coming up, and Jacob still has more of his Minecraft to do. So if you'd like to watch those other videos and you'd like some notifications for when that happens, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below. And as always, I will see all of you guys in the next video. Bye.